All right, my lovely internet people. Let's get straight to it. No beating around the bush. Many of you ask me, what is the secret sauce? The magic potion. To stacking up serious dough, to becoming, dare I say, disgustingly wealthy. And I tell you the truth, the cold, hard, inconvenient truth. And most of you, bless your cotton socks, just don't buy it. You look at me like I've got two heads, like I'm speaking in ancient Sanskrit. But hear me out, because if you can truly, deeply, utterly master this one single solitary thing, life, my friends, becomes an absolute cakewalk. A cheat code activated, easy mode engaged, but, and there is always a but, isn't there? In the beginning, oh my goodness, it is going to be a bumpy ride. It is going to feel like you're trying to push a square peg through a very round hole. It is difficult. It is frustrating. It is also incredibly personal. What I'm about to spill, what works for me with my slightly unhinged brain, might not work for you, and vice versa, of course. Because we are all beautifully, uniquely wired, like a bunch of tangled headphones, but the underlying principles, the foundational truths I'm about to drop, I genuinely believe universally applicable. Like the laws of gravity, but for your bank account, they can help absolutely everyone, from the high-flying CEOs to the couch potatoes. So let's dive into these core tenets, these nuggets of pure, unadulterated wisdom. And just to preface this, because I love to remind you, all of this, every single word, is coming from a guy who, and I kid you not, failed school spectacularly, miserably. I was a consistent D student like a professional D- connoisseur. On the surface, I was the poster child for pure, unadulterated laziness. My bed was my kingdom, Netflix my loyal subject. But deep down, in the dusty, forgotten corners of my slightly chaotic brain, I just knew, I was wired differently, like a faulty circuit board. But in a good way, I just needed to find the right things to actually genuinely work on, or, and this is the crucial part, rewire my brain to actually truly, sincerely want to do the boring stuff, the soul-crushing, mundane tasks that are, unfortunately, the bedrock of any real, lasting success. And I've been doing this elaborate, ongoing brain hack over the past, let's say, a solid few years now. So I'm going to share with you today four key principles, four very easy, very digestible things you can snatch right after this video like a free sample at Costco, and immediately start kind of going after life with a little more swagger, a little more fire, a little more. I'm going to conquer the world energy first off, and this is a quick hit, a little mental espresso shot. Take this almost like a drug. It is not, the healthiest long-term strategy. I wouldn't use it constantly myself anymore. I don't use it very often, and it is probably not going to get you a gold medal in the Olympic Games of emotional wellness, but it does, and I swear on my last dollar, it does genuinely work like a goddamn charmy. Still pull it out of my back pocket sometimes when I need that extra kick. And that, my friends, is the chip on the shoulder, the sweet taste of proving someone wrong. Okay, I want you to close your eyes for a second. No, seriously, close them. And I want you to think of a time, a very specific, very vivid time, where someone, anyone, has legitimately, truly, unequivocally doubted you, whether they said it to your face, with a smirk and a condescending tone, or whispered it behind your back, like a cowardly snake, whether it was a friend, a family member, a teacher, a random troll on the internet. None of that really matters. Just bring that moment, that searing, unpleasant memory, right to the forefront of your mind. Really marinate in it. You should be getting, and I mean this in the best possible way, absolutely pissed off just thinking about it. Right? Good? Very good. That, my friends, is precisely what we're aiming for. I need you, yes, you, to spark that fire, that burning desire to prove them all wrong, to show them, with every fiber of your being, just how wrong they truly were. And I want to quickly reel it back in with a little personal anecdote, because I'm not just spewing theoretical nonsense here, believe it or not. For me, that Samoni was my own father. Now, trust me, him and I are on incredible terms these days. We have been for a very long time, but growing up, especially in my teenage years, oh boy, it was bad, like, seriously, spectacularly bad. So much so that at one point, he even dragged me kicking and screaming to a psychologist, not once, but twice, because I never ever followed the rules. I didn't listen to him. I thought I was, the typical infuriating teenage stuff. Man, I thought I was all high and mighty, the king of my own little rebellious castle, and looking back, with the clear vision of hindsight, he was right about most things. Of course, but, and this is where my tiny teenage ego still flares up, I was right about some things too, specifically around all that internet stuff. But that, my friends, that is a story for a whole other video, a whole other rant. The point is, even in some recent years, when I'm slogging through work, when I'm struggling, really struggling, to get through some boring, tedious, soul-sucking task that I absolutely, positively, 100% do not want to do, but I know, deep down in my bones, is important, is essential, and is ultimately a testament to my character, to my work ethic, I think of those moments, those frustrating, eye-rolling moments from my childhood, and they almost magically pick me right back up. They light that fire, that rebellious spark, right back up inside of me, which I highly encourage you to do. I know, it is not the healthiest thing. It is not exactly good for your emotional well-being to hold on to resentment, to harbor a grudge. And believe me, there were moments, and I'll talk about this in another video, that were genuinely not good. Like, I was a genuinely very furious kid against the perceived injustices. And I held that grudge for a very long time. But, you know what? Everything, absolutely everything, worked out for a reason in the end, so I highly recommend trying it if you truly desperately need to. And if there is one thing, one quickest, most immediate way to kickstart that motivation, it is that raw, untamed chip on your shoulder. Trust me, it is like rocket fuel, and we'll circle back to that at the very end of this video. Don't you worry. Number 2, my second gem of wisdom. And this one is a game changer. Think of the end result, the glorious, triumphant end goal of the set task, not the actual task itself, not the mundane, tedious, soul-crushing thing you have to get done in the exact moment, right? Think of something as ridiculously simple as making your bed in the moment. It is annoying. It is a chore. It is a disruption to my perfectly horizontal existence. I don't really like doing it either, to be honest, but what is the end result, my friends? A nice-looking room, a tidy-looking room, a sanctuary of order, a little slice of domestic bliss, right? It is very simple stuff. Let's take the gym, for example. I've used this analogy in a couple of my videos, so forgive me if you've heard it before. Do you honestly, truly believe that I want to go there? For an hour, an agonizingly long hour, walk in the freezing, absolutely soul-numbingly cold. I mean, right now it is like -5, -20 degrees weather. It is stupid. It is insane. It is barbaric. Hell no, I do not want to do that. Or rip my muscles up and be in excruciating pain. No, 1,000 times no. But I know, I absolutely know. The end result, I feel great. I look great. I feel 10 times more confident. I get a ton of compliments all the time. Like, there are so many pros to that, right? It is the transformation, not the torment. And another thing you should always think of is what happens if I don't do this? What happens if I do fall off? If I succumb to the siren song of procrastination, right? And I always think, it is like, there are moments, even to this very day, that I do not feel like going to the gym, for example. But, has there ever been a single solitary moment where I left the gym and said, oh, you know what? I really shouldn't have gone today. Absolutely not. There is never been. Just a couple of weeks back where it is like, sorry, look at this. This is a choked nuke, my Xbox completely frozen. I was so pissed off at this, so I've got some other gameplay loading up here. But anyways, I was like thinking about this every time that I didn't want to go to the gym. But then I did. I pushed myself and I walked out of there. I felt so happy. I felt incredible. There has never been a time where it is like, you do the thing you've been putting off for so long, the thing that felt like a mountain to climb, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that thing. Of course you should have. And of course you feel good doing it, right? That is perfect. That is a win. You should feel good about that. You earned that feeling. Another example that I just want to, think on is investing. It is like, damn, I have to invest 300,000 grand to have something for my future. It feels like a massive insurmountable hurdle, but it is like, if you invest 300,000 into a boring, utterly unsexy S&P 500 index fund, that could very well be worth millions. In a few decades, not a few days, not a few months, but a few decades. And that way, my friends, that is way more easier to stay disciplined with my investing. Of like, it is a couple $100 grand now. A respectable sum, sure, but it is literally going to be worth a couple million in a couple of years. So I should just keep this thing going, right? It is the compounding, the magic of it all, and then it is a double whammy, because that, my friends, is momentum. My entire life runs on momentum. It is like caffeine. But for my productivity, I just want more. When I get one task done, I say, well, that wasn't so bad, and I just want more. The snowball effect, baby. It is real. And of course, A quick side note on all of this, I probably should have said this at the very beginning. Every single bit of it becomes exponentially easier with stuff you're passionate about, of course, that you absolutely unequivocally love. That sets your soul on fire, that you would do even if you weren't paid. I'd honestly consider you winning at life. That is huge. That is a monumental achievement. Not everyone gets that opportunity, right? Not everyone loves their job right away, or loves the tasks that they have to do. Even myself, my business that I own, I don't 100% love it. Let's be brutally honest here, but it makes great money for me, and it allows me to set up my investments in a very lucrative way, and I love money. I'm not ashamed to admit it, so I have to use some of these principles. Sometimes, not everything is shining rainbows and fluffy unicorns. Right, so keep that in mind, my friends. Embrace the grind, but find the joy where you can. Number 3, my third golden nugget, is incentivize yourself. This is so important. When you get X done, do Y for yourself, like a little reward system. But for adults, for me, it is like when I see 5 sales calls on my calendars, a daunting, potentially soul-crushing number, and a couple of accounting or billing things on my to-do list. I'm like, okay, if I get these things done, if I conquer this mountain of administrative hell, I can hop on COD for a couple of glorious guilt-free hours, or I can go watch a movie, or go out for dinner, or whatever little treat, little indulgence. That tickles my fancy, right? Even as an entrepreneur, you have to treat your business like a 9 to 5 sometimes, because let's face it, we are our own bosses, our own taskmasters, and it is super important to just build that structure, that self-discipline mechanism for yourself, right? Don't wait for someone else to give you a gold star. Give yourself a whole damn constellation. And that kind of segues beautifully, seamlessly into my last point. Number 4, which is have a general, just a rough, flexible routine. I cannot tell you how much this has helped me as I get older, especially as I get older. And I know this. Your schedule, my schedule, everyone's schedule is only going to get more difficult, more complex, more demanding, and the quicker you get on just even a light, barely noticeable routine, your life is going to become that much better, that much more manageable, that much more optimized, right? Because all of this life stuff is just rhythm, which gets you momentum and all of momentum. My friends, is just stacking things, one small win after another,